Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio. In today's video I'm going to show you how I quilted the leaves and the stems in the Blue Tigers 2 quilt. In this section I am quilting the leaf in one of the lilies, and in here I'm going to be putting a main stem down the center, and then I'm going to have veins going out to the sides. And in this type of quilting I'm going to be encapsulating the entire applique within the quilting. And what I'm doing is going from the bottom of the leaf all the way to the top, and then as I come down on one side I'm doing an S curve to the top and then an S curve back to the center of that vein that I just quilted in. And when I'm on the outside edge of the leaf, I'm going just barely off that applique, so that applique is just completely encased within the quilting. Now if you don't want this many veins in your leaf, all you have to do is space your S curves out so you can have as many or as few veins in your leaf as you like. Now there are as many different ways to quilt a leaf as there are quilters, and this isn't the type of quilting that I do on every single leaf in a project. But with this quilt, since it is a wall quilt and it's a art quilt, it isn't going to be washed, but I still want it to have a lot of texture, and so keeping these veins close together creates a lot of texture. Also, the thread is darker than the fabric. I believe this is Spanish moss. Or no, excuse me, this is pine by Signature, and it's a little bit darker than the fabric, so it does show up quite well, and it'll show up from a distance as you're viewing this quilt. Now this leaf is a different shape. It's more of an oval, almost a teardrop shaped leaf. So with the spine of that leaf I am making it curved to give a little bit more motion and dimension to it. And as I'm going up on the S curve, I'm going off of the edge of the applique and then coming back down with another S curve. And then when I get to the bottom of that first side, I go right back up the middle, mirror imaging that stem, and then just coming back down with my S curves. And right now I have the quilting machine in non-stitch regulated mode, so it's in manual mode, and I'm going about 45% of the motor speed, so it goes pretty quickly. It just takes a little bit of practice to get used to this pattern, and other than that it goes real quickly and pretty smoothly. Now on the stems I have switched to Spanish moss, and this is a YLI thread. And on these stems of the flowers I'm going to do a serpentine stitch going from side to side, and as I get to each edge of that applique I'm going off of the applique real close to the edge of that applique so it's not real visible into the background fabric, and just going all the way down that stem. And as with the leaves, there's as many different ways to quilt a stem on a flower as there is quilters. And this is another one that adds some visual texture, and it also helps secure the fusible applique down. If you saw one of my previous videos on this quilt, some of the applique did not fuse down well, and I glued it down with school glue, and this will help make sure that this is going to stay down and will not come up at some future point. So it's a real quick stitch, it's real fast, and it's really good for whimsical type quilts like this quilt is here. So that's about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up, and thanks for watching.